The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star.
Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Haley Sutton, Jess Navarez, and Aisha Morrison with you on this Thursday morning. A lot to talk about. A lot has happened. It feels like it has been a month, but it hasn't. It's been like 4 days since everything started kicking off. We had schedule release, we had rookie mini camp, and now we've got some OTAs loading in the next couple of weeks. So the players are starting to get back into the groove of getting back into the football season. We got the opportunity to check out some of the rookies, talk to some of the rookies. We'll get to that in a minute. I want to talk about this schedule, and I know that we've been dissecting it as the Dallas Cowboys organization all week, but I value y'all's opinion and what we think about stuff. So I want to open the floor to you guys' overall thoughts on the schedule and how you kind of see this shaping out for this team.
Yeah. Go ahead, because I'm over here messing up over here.
That's all right. It's still early. That's all good. Y'all know how we are with these morning shows. First glance, I liked it, and then the more I look at it, the more and more I like it. Of course, you can't exactly like everything on it, so there's a couple things that I didn't necessarily like, but I like it. I think it sets them up for success, especially with the changes you saw this offseason, the additions, the draft class. I'm really excited. To me, this solidified Dallas Cowboys are going to have a very successful season next season.
Why do you think that?
I think just the way it's set up. So, you look at the first game. So let's start with the Giants. To me, that sets the tone early. It's a divisional game. You stick that win there. You get off for success. I like Aaron Rodgers early on in the season. It doesn't give him a chance to get hot and in true Aaron Rodgers form like you tend to see when playoff contention and wins really do matter towards the end of the season. Plus, at that point, he's still going to be adjusting to what it is to be a New York Jet. So to me, get Aaron Rodgers early, knock that out of the way sooner rather than later. And then what I really, we can go through week by week, but what I really enjoyed was when you look at the Thursday night games, we always talk about how Thursday night can impact these players so much. You have a Thursday to Thursday game, so technically you do get that full week of practice. It's shifted a little bit, but instead of worrying about a Thursday to Monday or a Thursday to Sunday that cuts their week short, you end up getting that full week of practice. And so for me, we talked a lot about the fear of the Thursday night games and the Cowboys having multiple with the new NFL rules, and they do. But I do like how it's set up to where they're Thursday to Thursday, they get that full week. The only thing I really don't like is that 4-week stretch at the end of the schedule where you have 3 away games and the only home game you get is that Saturday game there against Detroit. And not a fan of the Buffalo game in December, personally. But all in all, love the schedule, love how it's set up for multiple reasons. I think the harder matchups, if you will, are spread out pretty nicely. There's not a chunk of the season that really worries me. But we'll see. We'll see where the cards fall with that one.
Shoot. You speak for yourself, man.
I was just getting ready to say, I love that positive energy.
No.
We are manifesting that.
Look.
That is not how I see it.
You cannot go into it with the fear, especially what the Cowboys have done this offseason. Look, if the run defense was not patched up this offseason, I would be more worried than I am. You look at this, and the way it's set up, I like it, because it's not like you have Aaron Rodgers later on, and then you have the Bills right after, and then you have the Eagles right after. Like, you don't have a stretch later on in the season that could potentially mess up with playoff contention. And I like that you get the Eagles later on in the season because, again, you get your true matchups. Everybody's been wanting a true Eagles-Cowboys matchup. You get it. And you get no excuses to why either team wins or loses.
Man, that month of October is going to tell me a lot about this team, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. You look at San Fran, at LA Chargers, which there's going to be a lot of Cowboys fans there, so whatever.
Yeah.
Then they have this bye. They play the Rams, and they play Philly. And it's just feeling like a revenge tour a little bit. Like, it's just feeling like maybe, the Rams, the Rams kicked the Cowboys out of the playoffs several years ago. San Francisco's been a thorn in their And then obviously, and then Philadelphia, I think that you got the Chargers, which obviously there's some stuff there. So you look at that part of
stuff.
Some stuff.
Shed some light, Aisha.
But man,
what stuff is there?
Listen, they don't need no light. They don't need no light. They're all right. But that part of the season to me can really set up the rest of the way and the way that the rest of it feels. I will say, listen, going into the season ending in December and going into the playoffs, like starting to begin to playoff prep, and you got to play Detroit 2 weeks out. Listen, Detroit, I don't know if y'all remember, after they played Detroit last year, that injury report was insane because that's how Detroit play. They play super physical, fast to the ball. Definitely can see them
Fighting
improving
Dan
offensively.
Campbell's.
Oh my God! And then you see with the Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, like they've added some. Detroit's my sleeper this year, and having to play them right before the playoffs makes me a little stressed out.
Yeah, for me, obviously the end of the season is like the way Isaiah framed it on Talking Cowboys earlier this week was that top to bottom the schedule is just difficult. It's dogs left and right, and that last stretch between Thursday Night Football against Seattle all the way to that Detroit game and even the Washington game that's on the road. It's the TBD game. It's the game that typically it's a throwaway game in certain circumstances. But when you look at how the NFC East has improved as a whole, we've seen it on the uptick for the last couple of seasons. Last year was the best example of that. But even before you get to that last stretch, to me, the most pivotal part of this season is that stretch that comes after the bye week, right? So you have the Rams, and to me, the Rams can go either way. I'm not super concerned about it in terms of what they've done in their offseason, what they've done in their draft to be able to rebuild and get back to that Super Bowl caliber team that they were a few years ago. But then after that, you're going to Philadelphia. That's your first time playing the Eagles this season at Philadelphia. We know how rowdy that gets. So you've got to get through that. Then you come back home. You've got another divisional game against the Giants. Depending on how well you did against them in the first week of the season, that could also be a pivotal game there. And then you go to Carolina, and very similar to how you feel about the Lions is kind of how I feel about Carolina. You know, I said this earlier as well. It gives me the vibes that the Jacksonville game gave, where last season it was, it in theory, it was a surefire game, and it should have been a W, and it obviously wasn't. So I have that kind of feeling about that Carolina game. Then you come back home again, your third divisional game in 4 weeks against a Washington team on Thanksgiving. You know the implications that come with that. Thursday Night Football in Seattle. And then on top of that, now you're facing the most difficult part of that season. And to me, whatever happens in that chunk, that's where the NFC East will be defined. That's kind of where your playoff picture is defined, because you've got 4 teams that are going to compete for the NFC East title, right? In theory, it's the Eagles and the Cowboys up there in that top spot. We've seen the Giants get better under Daboll. We've seen the Commanders improve. They've got a new quarterback. They're working on new ownership, hopefully have a new mentality. So that stretch right there, to me, to your point of we'll know a lot about that team in that early stretch. Then we'll learn if this team is going to be playoff caliber when you get through that stretch, because now we can say check, check, check. Okay, they're battle tested. Let's get into that last portion. Let's go to Buffalo. Let's go to Miami. Let's wrap things up. So I don't know that I like the schedule. I think it's interesting. I do believe it is a testament to what the Cowboys have built in terms of getting primetime games and getting teams that want to play the Cowboys in primetime. I think it's a testament to the fact that they got this difficult schedule because of the improvements that they've made over the last few years. So flattery a little.
America's team.
Daunting.
America's team. They bring the views.
I look at this schedule, and then you look at, I think Philly has a hard schedule too. And listen, what makes it really hard, in my opinion, what makes it really hard, rather, is the fact that the NFC East has gotten good.
Yeah.
And that there's no freebies. There's nobody you can really look over in the and I'm not saying that I don't think that was something that the Cowboys did before. But you know, when there were times that you were like, oh, that's a W. Like looking at the Commanders, that's a W. And you can't do that. So for the Cowboys, it's gonna be hey, they're gonna have to play 100% almost every freaking game, and it's just nuts to see. But
there's no breaks.
Yeah, there's no breaks.
Even the bye.
That's a good way to say
Even the bye, to me, like you go to San Fran, you go to LA, you likely stay out in California for that week because the travel of going from the West Coast back here, back to the West Coast. So you've got a week basically where you're going to be kicking it on the West Coast, and then you get a bye. So sure, you get to rest after that Chargers game, but then you turn right back around and another potential sleeper team. I genuinely don't know what to think of the Rams, but still, that resets the whole setup.
There's a lot of variety, girl.
You know, what I'm looking at, too, is comparing last season, and the bye week was at week 9. This week, it's week 7. And I just remember last season, the bye week could not come soon enough. Those guys they needed it. You could tell the fatigue was there. They were tired. So it's interesting to see that it's set up earlier this season, which could help them potentially with the Rams and that away Philly game. And then, of course, the Giants there, which we know matter, like we were just talking about. But as you get towards the later half of the season, that's where I start to worry again about fatigue and build up because you had your bye week a little bit early.
Yeah, they're not going to get a... They're not going to get a break in any capacity.
But what I will say is after the bye week last season, you had those games where you were looking at the entire schedule and saying, okay, Green Bay, how did we feel about that? A loss, a win. They ended up losing. After the bye week last season, they only lost 3 games, and that was Green Bay, Jacksonville, and Washington, the very last game of the season. So you're looking at this one where you come out of it and you have the Rams. I think that's a really good opponent because you don't count Sean McVay out, right? I never do. I don't count Sean McVay out. I think he's a genius when it comes to his coaching style. But then you keep going down the list, and yeah, you have your hard stretch. But to me, look, I really am excited to see what the Cowboys have built this offseason. And it is going to be a true testament of if you are that team you are saying you are, if you are the championship caliber team that you have been building for the last 3 seasons, this is the schedule that's going to prove it right here. Because if you can't win this schedule, have a winning record, I don't know what to tell you. But I think with everything they've been building, it's a difficult schedule. But again, it's one of 2 ways. You can either say, well, the Cowboys had a difficult schedule and that's why, or it was, they got it handed easy to them. They had an easy schedule. But to your point about the Eagles schedule also is not an easy feat for them either. So it's going to be interesting to see.
I do. I think the Cowboys schedule the way it's set up might be a little bit more difficult than most teams in the NFC. Like,
it's the way it's stacked.
It's stacked.
The way you described it as being a revenge tour, I don't know that there is a better way to describe it because you start off Sunday Night Football with the Giants, the team that Dak is unstoppable. He's Thanos against the frickin' Giants, okay? And then you've got the Jets, and you've got Aaron Rodgers, who I believe is 4-0 at AT&T Stadium. He's never really lost to the Cowboys. And then you go to Arizona, a team that's kind of just been a joke for the last couple of years, and that being said, you don't know what to expect.
Those are the kind of teams you watch out for, though.
Yeah.
Look at what the Texans did last season. They threw it all out there.
Yeah.
A whole new team when they played the Cowboys.
Yeah, you've got New England and Bill Belichick, and then you go to San Francisco, like, LOL, on Sunday Night Football. And then you've got Monday Night Football against your former offensive coordinator and Justin Herbert. And then they're like, all right, that was a little tough. Why don't you guys take a week off?
Take a break.
Rest. Because when you come back, you're going to have a Super Bowl champion. You're going to have your back-to-back divisional games. You're going to have a sleeper team in Carolina, another divisional game. That's on Thanksgiving. Then Thursday Night Football. And it's just like punch after punch after punch. So I agree, Jess. I think that if you want to be, quote-unquote, considered a championship caliber team, if you want to be battle-tested, if you want to have all of the fun, exciting things that are interesting to talk about, then sure, this is the schedule to do it. That means, though, that it is concerning in terms of what, especially when you don't, like, the roster's new, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the roster's new. The offensive coordinator is new.
Right.
The person calling the plays is new. The only thing that's not new is defense.
That helps.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah. I want to make sure, like, I have confidence in their ability to win, like, tater tots. But when it started getting cold,
oh man,
health is gonna be so intricate. It's always intricate, but it's gonna be super intricate in this season, especially since you mentioned, Jess, the bye is 2 weeks earlier than it was last year, and these gentlemen aren't gonna get any level of a break for a minute after that bye. It's gonna be straight to it unless you consider that last Commanders game possibly one. So.
See, and looking at the Eagles' schedule, their bye week is in week 10, where they come straight out and they play the Chiefs, Buffalo, the 49ers, Dallas, Seattle, New York, Arizona, and then New York again. So, yeah, maybe the first part of the Eagles' schedule isn't that intimidating, but after their bye week, they need to hit the ground running, because if not, look, it's going to be another season of Eagles-Cowboys discussions again, because, oh, man. You were talking about it's not that hard of a schedule, and then I looked after their bye week, and I'm like, well, I mean,
it don't feel like this. It don't feel like this though to me. But I maybe I'm biased, but
I think it's the emotion that's with it. Like
to me,
this feels personal. That feels like they put the schedule together and wanted it to be challenging.
Yeah.
This feels like whoever put this
feels like
together
a personal
was
attack.
personal.
it does. And I don't care about A-Rod being a Jet. He's still in some level of green. I ain't got time. Nobody.
Nah.
I do think
New
that
era.
it's going to be important to see him and get that out the way. In a
slay
way,
your
'cause it's
dragons
just-
early. Yeah.
Yeah, because you remember last year, obviously this was our first year covering the team, but you could feel, for us, like being new, I could feel that Green Bay game felt different to everybody. I'm like, man, is this man like John Wick for real? Is he really like the boogeyman to the Cowboys?
It wasn't just Aaron Rodgers. It was the fact that it was the first time for Mike McCarthy going back to his hometown. It was he didn't want to make a big fuss about it. It was the first game back from the bye week. There was all of these little implications that went into the emotions of that one. But I agree. Aaron Rodgers might have a little John Wick to him. But what I pointed out earlier about him when I filled in on Talking Cowboys earlier this week, Aaron, in my opinion, in the late half of his career, has become very particular when he chooses to play ball.
Absolutely.
And that's not to say that he's not a capable quarterback. I said this earlier in the week. He's going in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the best to ever play quarterback in the National Football League. But later in his career, when he lost some of his playmakers in Green Bay, you could see it almost felt like he gave up last year. He was ready to go. He made this big hup up about leaving, and then he wanted to go to the Jets, but he's going to the Jets with this laundry list of players that he wants in order to be successful out there. And, so we'll see. We'll see what Aaron Rodgers can contest. To me, the divisional games, that's what's going to be important. Every single person that I've spoken to, whether it was pre-draft, post-draft, when I spoke to Emmett last week at the ACMs, everybody's opinion is the same. Win your division, and to do that, you've got to be better than the Eagles, and that's the standard that we're at right now. It's not fun for Cowboys fans to hear, but that's the reality. So
good morning.
That's what it is. That's just what it is. You're going to have to get past the Eagles, and then you also are going to have to get past the Giants, because again, under Daboll, they're building. They've got some new pieces in there as well that I think are going to be interesting to watch as the season goes on. So a lot of things to consider with this schedule, but the good news is that this team has some new weapons. They have some new options on offense, defense, and special teams, starting with that rookie class. So let's go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, we'll talk about some of these rookies who stood out to us at minicamp and how they can help the Cowboys in this daunting 2023 schedule.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that sixth ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
If you've been thinking about weight loss surgery, My Bariatric Solutions has made it easier for you to schedule your initial consultation from the safety, comfort, and convenience of your own home. You'll meet one-on-one with the bariatric surgeon over a private and secure video call. You'll learn everything you need to know about the options available and which procedure is best for you. If you've been considering weight loss surgery and are ready to take the first step, call My Bariatric Solutions today at 844-326-6266. That's 844-326-6266, or go to mybariatricsolutions.com.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, you know why we're here. The football season is back! Woo! And since that's too amazing to miss a single second's worth, Pepsi is officially giving you permission to always put football first. Like, maybe those in-laws are back in town. Well, better hope they're football fans, because your Sunday is completely booked. Long story short, crack open a Pepsi and don't let anything get between you and your football watching. With love, Pepsi, made for football watching. That's what I like.
Hi, I'm Danny McCray, Dallas Cowboys alumni player here with Smoothie King. And Smoothie King wants to ask you, What's that sound? That's the sound of you and everyone else absolutely loving new smoothie bowls from Smoothie King. And woo, me too. These smoothie bowls start with acai and pitaya and are handcrafted with fresh toppings like sliced bananas, sweet berries, crunchy Purely Elizabeth granola, and a savory peanut butter drizzle. New smoothie bowls, only at Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
To Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to talk a little rookies, but first, let's go to Jess.
Let's see. We are going to talk about these. Look old, Jesse. Let's come back to this because these don't look right. But that's okay. That's
no
okay.
It's okay.
We're gonna come back to it. Jazzy, if you want to send me the new ones, we can read that at the end of the block. Got to make sure to put a plug in for all the events we have going on.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Rookie minicamp wrapped up on, I think technically it wrapped up on Sunday, but our portion of the minicamp wrapped up on Saturday. We got the opportunity to not only chat with our new Dallas Cowboys, which I believe all of them have officially signed, including some of the undrafted guys. So excited for them to get started on this new journey. This is honestly my favorite part of the season because you're seeing dreams come to fruition. And speaking with every single one of the draft guys, you could just see how excited, how hungry they are, a little bit of nerves. They walk around the building with their little binders trying to find where they want to go. And it's really incredible because, again, you see these guys, go from rookies to competitors right in front of your eyes in terms of how the offseason moves. And so we've got some good ones in the building. We've got a lot with some good stories and some good people in general. So this is a really good class in that regard, but we know Cowboys Nation doesn't necessarily always care about that kind of stuff. They want to see results on the football field, and I think there are some guys on this roster that can be impact players going forward. We got a chance to speak with the coordinators. I know you guys both were able to listen in on that, so I want to open up the floor. What stood out to you about rookie minicamp in terms of what the coordinators had to say and just working towards training camp going forward?
Oh, yeah, the opportunity to meet Brian Schottenheimer was really dope. He's such a lively person, and I can see why the guys like him. And he said something about, what he wants the offense to be. And I remember I asked him, and he said that he wanted it to be physical and he wanted to make teams he wanted to utilize the whole field. And to me, I think a lot of people took it in a different way as far as okay, well, that's just what coaches say. That's just what they're supposed to say. Mm-hmm. But if you really look at how the Cowboys offense was last year. I know we talked about it on the show plenty of times. There were plenty of times where there were plenty of times where the field rather was not being utilized, right? There were times that you were just like, okay, well, why isn't there a guy here in the intermediate routes here to help out Dak just in case? There were times where it was like, why isn't the middle of the field being utilized by the tight ends and things that we went away from? So I also think that just plays into the versatility now with the Brandon Cooks and Deuce and these guys that they can use the field and they can throw out different packages, offensive packages, and really be matchup driven because that's how you win. So Brian Schottenheimer, really just getting a chance to hear him speak and kind of see his personality, I think was important for us to be able to analyze moving forward.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where we hadn't met him yet, so we didn't know kind of how he spoke and what he spoke about. He fits right in with the culture that's been created. Right. I mean, that was the first thing I noticed was how he talks matches Dan Quinn, Mike McCarthy, Bones Fossil. It's all at the same energy level and just the same kind of veteran knowledge. You can just tell when he was talking even about his history with Mike McCarthy. I mean, man, this guy's not new. I don't understand how Cowboy. I need to get off of Cowboys Twitter sometimes, but Cowboys Twitter was just not excited like they should be for him. But I think the more and more you guys hear him talk, and the more you see what his plan is, the more exciting it's going to be. And what I really like about this change the most is, you're not seeing a guy that's coming in and overwhelming the players with, hey, we're changing everything with this, you need to learn this, and this, and this. He said it's a process. We're taking it slow because he was asked about, where are you in terms of changing the offense right now? And he said, it's a process. And so what I like is him and Mike are sitting down and they're putting that process together without overwhelming everybody else and getting them involved too early to where it becomes confusing and the scheme just doesn't make sense for them. So I like that it's a slow process. And then again, they'll get the guys involved when they need to, but I'm excited hearing him talk. He fits right in. He really does. And so I really enjoyed talking to him too.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to be there whenever he was talking because I was running around doing 100 things. But I did listen to him this morning, as well as Dan Quinn. And the biggest thing that we've been talking about, but we obviously saw it, be put to paper, so to speak, is the idea of versatility. I loved listening to Dan Quinn discuss, there are certain guys who we drafted maybe as a linebacker who has some capabilities to play in that safety spot or has some capabilities to be in some different areas. We have some wide receivers who are going to line up in the slot, and maybe they usually don't. So you can see the brain working, and this might be like an obvious thing in terms of just general rookie camp knowledge, but I also thought it was interesting listening to the discussions about it being a process. And the biggest thing that they're getting out of this rookie minicamp isn't necessarily like talent evaluation. It's just getting these guys accustomed, getting these guys feeling comfortable so that when it comes time to evaluating that talent, when OTAs start really getting underway, and then when training camp is here, they have a good understanding of where these players are from a cognitive standpoint, from a physical standpoint, from an emotional standpoint. Some of these guys have never been to Texas before.
Absolutely.
They've never had to be in a situation like this. And I was thinking about this morning because I dropped my dogs off at the groomer. And I imagine that some of these guys, especially the undrafted guys, and I don't want this to be disrespectful, but I can see that kind of energy where, you're just dropped off in a place that you've never been to before. You're expected to hang out in this facility all day. New faces. Yeah, your mom's not around or your support system's not around. Yeah. So it's just a big adjustment in terms of what they've been expected to do. And also, again, with Dan Quinn, he spoke about, this isn't like college. This is different than what they've ever experienced in college before. This is something that they're going to have to start understanding quickly if they're going to fit in, if they're going to make it on a roster, is to make those mental adjustments now. And so it's just interesting to see from that perspective, because when we think, rookie minicamp, like they're out there and they're running routes and they're, out there blocking and they're scheming and they're doing all this stuff, and that's obviously not the case. So super interesting from that angle of it. I know we all got the chance to speak to all of the rookies after listening to them, after getting to know their personalities a little bit. Who are some guys that maybe impressed you?
I think, obviously I've been keeping a very close eye on Schoonmaker since the draft because there was just a lot of mixed feelings about him. But again, you're talking about a culture thing. This guy fits right in. He was talking, and I'm like, yep, he's going to fit right in that tight end room. And he's big. He is a tall guy. And yes, tight ends are tall. We know that. But it was interesting to me because, of course, he's the same height as Dalton Schultz, and so we got to meet and talk to Dalton Schultz. He felt taller for some reason. He's just a really big guy, and just the way he was talking, y'all know, with any chance I get, I'm going to bring up Jason Witten. The fact that he said, I've been studying Jason Witten, reached out to him. I want to learn about his leadership, how he led the team, what he did to learn his first year to become who he was. Y'all hit my heartstrings with that one. I was like, oh, you know what you're doing. But also somebody else I really liked was Junior Fiocco, and just the amount of human he is. And he was he was so nice, and you could tell he was nervous to talk to us, but as soon as you got him talking about his family, he just lit up, and his nerves, you could see them shedding as he was talking about them. His culture, I think what he brings as a Dallas Cowboy on the field is one thing, but again, we like those off the field kind of moments. And what Junior brings is that cultural aspect that he is so proud of, and he should be. And his family, he was talking about, my family used to pack up the stadium on the right side. And I said, well, what about AT&T Stadium? They can do the same thing. He said, yeah, they'll probably be right there in the corner of the right side of AT&T Stadium too. So I really enjoyed talking to him. Obviously, Deuce, very well spoken, and just it was amazing to get to see the excitement in these guys' eyes. I mean, they're lit up, and some of them we talked to before rookie minicamp, a couple of them we talked to after, but overall, just an awesome draft class. Every single one of those men were such a joy to talk to. And yeah, just seeing how excited they were, it was really cool.
Yeah, Had the chance to talk to Awesome Richards, which was really dope. Just kind of get to know him a little bit. He really looks up to Tyron. He said he just cannot wait to get in Tyron's ear and learn some more about him, and just like we talked about, just getting a feel for the player and kind of what he's been doing. He has told me he has been doing work at guard, and that's where they've been working him. And he was super. One of the dopest things is I like when guys can say the hard part out loud, right? I like when guys can say, this is what I'm trying to improve on. This is what I know I got to do better, and it matches up with what you see from them. Also, too, it's no secret that Isaiah Land is a gentleman that I am that I'm keeping my eye on, just because he has this feel to him that to me, and this is me personally, the first time I met Micah, you could feel like, oh, this dude has a little bit of something to him, and it's not even just obviously the play, but we mentioned like this dude is like, when doing the draft work, I considered him an undersized guy, but when you're in his presence, you can feel that this guy has some size and stuff. And Dan Quinn mentioned that he had his eye on him when he was looking at Marquise Bell last year. And I just think that this gentleman, if he continues to grow and take coaching, can really turn into something. Also, too, just seeing Deuce in person.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 5'1", so like seeing him in person, I'm like, this dude is a little crazy to be out there playing ball but it just is a testament to what he is like and what he can be. I just was so impressed actually feeling him next to me. I was like, oh, okay, this dude's a player, because you gotta be to be that size and go out there and play against the level of competition that he did, especially in college.
Yeah, when I spoke to Deuce, kind of off to the side, first of all, I was just so excited to see him because we got a chance to talk to him at the combine, and just his, not his overconfidence in terms of wanting to be in this building, but his commitment to wanting to go to a team that was a good fit, and him staying true to the fact that aside from the story, aside from his father being here, that he felt like the Cowboys would be a good fit for him in terms of what his skill set is. And so I was just so excited just from that standpoint to say hi again, and he was really excited. But I also kind of know that he's ready to put that chapter behind him.
Right.
It was exciting. It was something that was really kind of unique to his situation and to Chris Vaughn's situation. But that's not his focus. His focus now is to make the 53-man roster. And I even asked him, I said, are there advantages to your size? Like, is there ways that you have found that your size is maybe better than others? And without blinking an eye, he was like, absolutely.
Yep.
I'm like, the offensive line is like my trees. That the linebacker can't see me, I can't see the linebacker. So that gives me an advantage. And then just the way he was like flexing his football IQ. He's like, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this. And in case you're wondering, like when this gap is open, I can cut through. And I literally felt like I needed to be taking notes on what he was saying, because I was like, this is so incredibly impressive. So I'm not worried about Deuce. I think Deuce is going to be just fine. I think Kevontae Turpin should be a little bit nervous in terms of skill set and what Deuce brings to the table. I think that's an interesting position battle that will shape up really nicely. And you mentioned Viliami as well. I loved getting to talk to Junior, because I grabbed him before he talked to y'all.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, come over here real quick. Like, we're just doing quick one-on-ones for the website. And he was like, wait, I have to go over there and talk to them. And I was like, yeah, you have to talk to them, but you can talk to me first. So we'll do some icebreakers and we'll make it work. And so I you could, very similar to what you said, you could see initially, I just said, like, how's it feel? You're finally here. And he's like, it's good. It's a lot of fun. I was just waiting for the draft to be over, and now it is, and I'm ready to go. And then as you kept talking to him, you could just see almost like his shoulders like relax.
Yeah.
And it was because I asked about family. Mm-hmm. I asked him directly if he was related to Simi Fehoko, because I was like, that's the biggest question coming out of this is, are you or are you not related to Simi Fehoko? We need to know. He said no, but he is related to Vita Vea, I think, which is super helpful in his position and just being able to learn. He told me that they grew up like right down the street from each other, and they used to swim in each other's pool and wrestle and all that good stuff. But just from a position standpoint, from somebody who has been dominating at their position in the league for as long as they have been a professional football player. He said, Vita Vea is the standard, and I hope to be able to, at some point get to that standard. And right now, that's where my journey starts here. So I love that mentality. Patrick described him earlier in the week as somebody who wakes up and chooses violence.
This is true.
Which I loved the juxtaposition of on the football field, like he's a dog.
Yep.
But like in general, he's
so
like,
nice.
"What's up, guys?"
Yeah.
Like it's just so interesting to me.
Overshown too. I know that you guys. I felt like you got more of a chance to talk to him. Can you tell us about like what you guys talked about?
Yeah. We kind of just kept it light. I know my goal whenever I'm talking to these guys as well is the biggest thing is I want them to feel comfortable because I believe that from a professional football standpoint, these guys are so overwhelmed with give, right? Yeah. We're so expected of them to speak to us. We demand and we expect them to do our projects or to be in our social media videos or to answer this or answer that. And so my biggest goal with them is just to let them know, like, hey, I'm here and I'm here because I want to share your story. I want to share who you are as a person. I want these people to, when they think about criticizing Overshown for, maybe he has a bad play or something to that effect down the road. I want them to remember that this is his dream coming to life. And so for as many mistakes as he's going to make, the fact that he's made it this far and is able to check that box off of his wish list, like that's the type of stuff that I want people to take away from these conversations. And in terms of Overshown, I think he's got a great personality. He's obviously excited to be here. Yeah. My favorite thing that he said, I asked him about posting the picture of the Longhorn, his yearbook post. And he said, when you grow up in Texas and you're playing football, there's two things that you want to do. You want to be a Texas Longhorn and you want to be a Dallas Cowboy. And I'm fortunate enough to do both. And I just think that type of stuff is so special. So got a little bit of that. Got a little special projects in the works with Overshown coming up in June. So I've got a lot of fun stuff. I've got a piece on Viliami and his Polynesian culture coming out next week as well. So my goal with everything is to always try and show that side of these guys.
Yeah, and I love that because during the draft, I know when I was studying a lot of these players, like, sometimes you don't get to go deep into who they are and know more about them. And so it was really dope. I think that what you do is very important as well, and it's needed. So I'm glad that you have that approach. It helps.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very special privilege that I don't take for granted. We are Chatty Cathy's today because it's 10:37, so let's go ahead and take our second break. We're going to talk about Micah Parsons when we come back, but first let's get to this read from Jess.
All right, head to the Miller Lite House at AT&T Stadium for the Dallas Cowboys Tacos and Tunes Festival presented by Miller Lite, rescheduled to Saturday, June 3rd from 3 to 8 p.m. Enjoy a variety of tacos and food truck options while you sip on a cold drink and listen to some live music. Admission and parking for the Dallas Cowboys Tacos and Tunes Festival are free, so visit AT&TStadium.com/tacos and tunes for more information. See you there, and we'll be right back after this break.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that sixth ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, you know why we're here. The football season is back! Woo! And since that's too amazing to miss a single second's worth, Pepsi is officially giving you permission to always put football first. Like, maybe those in-laws are back in town. Well, better hope they're football fans because your Sunday is completely booked. Long story short, crack open a Pepsi and don't let anything get between you and your football watching. With love, Pepsi, made for football watching. That's what I like.
If you have been thinking about weight loss surgery, My Bariatric Solutions has made it easier for you to schedule your initial consultation from the safety, comfort, and convenience of your own home. You'll meet one-on-one with the bariatric surgeon over a private and secure video call. You'll learn everything you need to know about the options available and which procedure is best for you. If you've been considering weight loss surgery and are ready to take the first step, call My Bariatric Solutions today at 844-326-6266. That's 844-326-6266, or go to mybariatricsolutions.com.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, blockchain.com makes it easy to own a piece of the future. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team.
To Girls Talk Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go over to Jess.
The schedule is set, and limited tickets for the 2023 Dallas Cowboys season is at AT&T Stadium, and they are available now. Don't miss your chance to see your Dallas Cowboys live at AT&T Stadium when they host the NFC East rival Eagles, Giants, and Commanders, plus the Rams and Seahawks, Patriots, Lions, and the Jets, as we know. Visit DallasCowboys.com/tickets or SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium.
All right, we got about 5 or so minutes left here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk. We've talked about the rookies, who we think can be impressive in terms of being impact players on the roster. But I want to dive into one of the bigger talking points of this offseason that's quietly been a little bit interesting. Micah Parsons has been parading around this great country between wearing Sixers jerseys and wearing Celtics jerseys in various sporting events. He's out in Austin bulking up, telling us he's moving full-time to defensive end. Dan Quinn told us that's a lie. This is the most active we've seen Micah in terms of, building his off-the-field personality. He's always had it in him, I feel like, but this is really the first time we've seen an active superstar, Micah Parsons, who's, like I said, he was at the Celtics game yesterday. Just a lot going on with that man in the last couple of months.
Yeah, he's living his best life, to say the least. What is this, year 3?
Year 3.
Yeah. So he's just settling in, like you talked about, like coming in wide-eyed, like learning how to be a professional. Now he's like, I think I got down that part. Let me go live my life. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's cool seeing him around. It's so crazy because I think he is really becoming one of like the faces of the NFL, if not the face of the NFL. So at least he's carrying himself well. At least he ain't out there acting a fool.
I'd like to speak with him about a couple of his outfits because whatever
whatever he had on the other day,
whatever that outfit was last night,
guys, come on.
No. One thing about me, I love fashion. That plaid shirt with the Boston Celtics jersey.
Micah with the plaid
That was not it.
Nah,
that was not it.
He'll defend it, and he'll defend it.
Don't say that, y'all. I think that the hotel lost his luggage. The airline lost his luggage.
Someone on Twitter made a joke about that. It was like, this looks like when it was Mina freaking Kimes. She said it's like when you were in school, like us girls, and you wore spaghetti straps at school, and then you got in trouble by the office.
The lost and found clothes.
We're going to jail.
Oh my gosh, guys!
We're going to jail. He ain't about to be looking at me crazy.
I'll let him know. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about his fashion because
he know better.
That wasn't it.
What I find interesting about Micah, though, is he's such a competitor at all times. I mean, it doesn't take much to get this guy going with his competitive spirit, but you are the company you keep. So for me, Micah being in these competitive environments tells me he's there, yes, to enjoy the game, to watch the game, but to talk to these other athletes that are in the thick of these playoffs, right? Like to pick their mindset, do all that, but also his off-season work. The amount of training he's doing with these guys, I'm scrolling through his Twitter, and you just see Micah training, and then at a game, training. And somebody that I was really interested to see him working with is Andrew Whitworth.
Heck yeah.
Super Bowl champion, and the competition that Andrew gives Micah to be better, love that. So for me, yes, Micah's fashion. Look, I'm trying really hard to defend you, Micah. Really
Look at this.
I'm trying.
Look at this.
But
Jazzy, show the people.
Don't show them, Jazzy.
Don't show
them
like that.
I know. Don't do him like that. Oh no.
It's too late.
Everybody.
This is not it. We love you, Micah. We love you. This is not it. I'll have to ask him about it immediately.
Also, when he was caught eating the burger, and he was like, "Of
that
course."
was foul, though.
He goes, "Of course, the one time I'm not supposed to be eating something, and you guys catch me like that." You mentioned it's not a good picture, but man, I'm not gonna do him like that.
It gave the Russell Westbrook energy, the meme where he's sitting on the corner of the bench.
Yeah.
I'm going to jail. I'm glad that you mentioned him like training and doing, working with Andrew Whitworth. He's also trained in multiple sports. Like he's also boxing. He's also doing some martial arts, and all that stuff is to help him hone in on his craft. I literally just talking to somebody the other day, like, the idea of Micah getting better is just hard to fathom, like, because you just don't know what that looks like. You don't know. I personally, granted, he's putting on the weight and stuff so he can be more callous through the end of the season if he is going to be playing more DN. So I get that part of things. But the idea that he can become better as a pass rusher is a little unheard of, and it feels a bit unfair. So we'll see how things pan out for him. I know a lot of people are maybe worried about him putting on a little bit of more weight and how that's going to affect him, but I think that he has divine control over his body, and I think he understands it.
Yeah, he cleared it up the other day as well. He said, like, people think putting on weight means that, I'm growing to pant size or something like that. So he obviously has that perspective going forward. It will be interesting to see what he looks like in terms of, where those improvements show. I know Dan Quinn mentioned, he's a pass rushing linebacker, so take that with what you will. But it's for sure interesting just to see kind of if this training won't pay off, but just in what way will we best see it fit, and if this is something that will be, pattern for him going forward. Right. So a lot of exciting stuff. We've got OTAs coming up next week for the Cowboys. I will not be here next week, but I will be here in spirit. And excited to get some of these veteran guys back in the building.
Are those spirit fingers?
Yeah.
What's that? No. You gotta move your fingers a little bit more. What was that?
She said spirit.
I know,
so
but you went like this.
In my mind.
You look like
you did the
you did
the church
this.
spirit. Jess wanted spirit fingers. You did the church,
like actual spirit fingers.
I can't.
You went like this a little bit. And you gotta like spirit
well, we're
fingers.
gonna practice our spirit fingers. We'll be better.
We need it.
The next time we're together. That'll do it for this edition of Girls Talk Boys Talk. We will see you guys next week.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!